America, a land of dreams. Yet beneath our ideals, a shadow lurks. The Second Amendment, a right, a responsibility, and a source of unending debate. The Second Amendment. More than just ink on parchment, a reflection of hopes and fears, a bulwark against tyranny, but also a tool for internal control. A complex legacy shaping our national conversation. The year is 1791. A young nation grapples with liberty and order. The Second Amendment, a beacon of hope for some, conflict for others, shaped by British tyranny and the struggle for independence. But the issue of slavery loomed large. The Southern states saw it as a means to maintain order. The Southern states lived in unease. Fear of rebellion simmered beneath the surface. Slave revolts were a stark reality. The Haitian Revolution stoked these fears. The South clung to the Second Amendment to protect their interests. It was about preserving a social order. The Stono Rebellion cast a long shadow. In 1739, enslaved Africans rose up in South Carolina. Though crushed, it exposed the fragility of the slave system. The memory fueled the South's insistence on a well-armed citizenry. The Second Amendment provided justification. Fear found solace in the cold steel of a gun. The debate over the Bill of Rights raged on. The Second Amendment became a focal point. Southern delegates argued passionately for its inclusion. The text reflects the era's complexities. It remains a source of intense debate. The legacy of injustice casts a long shadow. The 20th century, a century of unprecedented change. The debate over guns evolved with societal attitudes. The rise of organized crime fueled calls for gun control. The National Firearms Act of 1934 marked a turning point. Federal regulation of firearms began to shape the debate. The National Firearms Act of 1934 targeted dangerous firearms. It marked the first significant federal intervention. The assassination of JFK reignited the debate. The Gun Control Act of 1968 expanded regulations. It prohibited sales to felons and the mentally ill. Federal regulation continued to evolve. The post-war pendulum swung between regulation and rights. The NRA rose as a powerful political force. The Firearm Owners Protection Act of 1986 eased regulations. The Brady Act of 1993 mandated federal background checks. It was a significant victory for gun control advocates. The debate continued to evolve. The 21st century brought landmark Supreme Court rulings. District of Columbia versus Heller in 2008 struck down a handgun ban. The court ruled the Second Amendment protects an individual's right to possess a firearm. The Heller decision marked a significant shift. It established an individual right to bear arms for self-defense. The debate over individual rights and public safety continues. A nation scarred. The rise of mass shootings. In the wake of each tragedy, the same questions arise. Why? How could this happen again? But the answers remain elusive, lost in a maelstrom of grief and political gridlock. The rise of mass shootings in America is a chilling testament to the deep-seated divisions that plague our nation. Schools, movie theaters, places of worship, no place seems immune from gun violence. The names of the cities and towns, Sandy Hook, Las Vegas, Parkland, Uvalde, serve as grim reminders of the human cost of inaction. The statistics paint a grim picture. According to the Gun Violence Archive, there were over 600 mass shootings in 2023 alone. These shootings, defined as incidents in which 4 or more people are shot or killed, excluding the shooter, have become tragically frequent. Beyond the headlines, the pervasive reality of gun violence. While mass shootings dominate headlines and ignite fierce debates, they represent only a fraction of the gun violence that plagues American society. Beyond the horrific spectacles that capture the nation's attention lies a pervasive and insidious undercurrent of gun-related deaths and injuries that touch every corner of the country, every day. Homicides, suicides, accidental shootings. These less publicized tragedies unfold silently in homes, on streets, and in communities across the nation, often leaving behind a ripple effect of trauma and loss that extends far beyond the immediate victims. The human toll exacted by gun violence is staggering, its impact immeasurable. The numbers tell a sobering tale. According to the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting Program, firearms were involved in over 73% of all homicides in the United States in 2022. These statistics, though cold and impersonal, represent countless shattered lives, families torn apart, and communities grappling with the devastating consequences of gun violence. The pervasiveness of gun violence in America is a complex and multifaceted issue with roots in poverty, inequality, mental health disparities, and a culture that often glorifies violence. Addressing this crisis requires a multi-pronged approach, one that goes beyond partisan rhetoric and addresses the root causes of violence, while also enacting sensible gun control measures that prioritize public safety. I'll link to one of my early videos about gun control at the end of this video. Make sure to check it out. A nation divided. Public opinion and the struggle for consensus. The debate over gun control in America is as old as the nation itself. A seemingly intractable divide rooted in deeply held beliefs about individual liberty, the role of government, and the meaning of the Second Amendment. It is a debate that has become increasingly polarized in recent decades, fueled by political rhetoric, media sensationalism, and the powerful influence of special interest groups with their massive bankroll. Public opinion on gun control is complex and nuanced, often shaped by personal experiences, cultural values, and geographic location. While polls consistently show that a majority of Americans support sensible gun control measures, such as universal background checks and bans or special licenses on assault weapons, there is significant variation in these views across different regions and demographic groups. This divide in public opinion is reflected in the patchwork of gun laws that exist across the United States. While some states have enacted relatively strict gun control measures, others have moved in the opposite direction, loosening restrictions and expanding access to firearms. This lack of a unified approach at the federal level has created a confusing and often contradictory legal landscape, making it difficult to enact meaningful and effective gun control measures. The debate over gun control is likely to remain a contentious issue in American politics for the foreseeable future. However, The urgency of addressing the epidemic of gun violence demands that we move beyond entrenched positions and engage in a meaningful dialogue that prioritizes public safety and seeks common ground solutions. The Second Amendment on the ballot, a nation divided. As the 2024 presidential election looms, gun control stands as a stark dividing line in American politics. The Second Amendment has taken center stage, its interpretation at the heart of a fierce debate. Candidates from both major parties stake out opposed positions on gun control. The Democratic Party supports stricter gun control measures, making it a central plank of its platform. They call for universal background checks, bans, or special licenses on assault weapons, and of course, red flag laws. The Republican Party remains divided on gun control. Some moderate Republicans support limited measures, but the base opposes restrictions. Republican candidates often argue for increased mental health funding and tougher penalties for gun crimes, but fail to enact policies for either. This partisan divide on gun control reflects a broader ideological divide in American society. The 2024 election will serve as a referendum on these fundamental questions. Between hope and despair. Navigating the path forward. The debate over gun control in America is often framed as a zero-sum game, a battle between two diametrically opposed sides. But amidst the political posturing, there exists a glimmer of hope, a yearning for common ground. The vast majority of Americans share a common goal to reduce gun violence and make their communities safer while respecting the right to bear arms. This shared desire must serve as a starting point for a more nuanced conversation about gun control. Finding a path forward will require compromise, empathy, and a willingness to listen. The Second Amendment must be balanced against the compelling interest of public safety. It is an opportunity to move beyond rhetoric and engage in meaningful dialogue for a safer society. The unfinished conversation, the Second Amendment, a right, a responsibility, a paradox woven into the very soul of America. From the ashes of revolution to the turmoil of our times, it has been a constant presence, a promise and a burden, a source of both security and sorrow. We have journeyed through the pages of history, confronted the shadows of our past, and grappled with the complexities of the present. We have seen how the Second Amendment, born from a desire for liberty, became entangled with the institution of slavery. How fear and division shaped its interpretation, leaving an indelible mark on our national identity. And so the debate rages on. A nation divided, seeking answers in a labyrinth of statistics, political rhetoric, and deeply held beliefs. But amidst the discord, a glimmer of hope persists, a shared desire for a safer, more peaceful future. The conversation remains unfinished. It is a conversation that demands our attention, our empathy, our willingness to listen and learn. It is a conversation that will shape the destiny of our nation. For in the end, the true test of our commitment to liberty lies not just in our defense of rights, but in our unwavering pursuit of justice for all. A time for reflection, a time for action. The story of the Second Amendment is our story. It is a story of freedom and fear, of hope and heartbreak. It is a story that continues to unfold, its ending yet unwritten. As we confront the challenges of our time, let us remember the words etched in stone on the Jefferson Memorial. I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that His justice cannot sleep forever. The pursuit of a more perfect union demands vigilance, courage, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. It demands that we listen to the voices of those who have been silenced, that we acknowledge the pain of those who have been marginalized, and that we never cease striving for a future where the promise of liberty is realized by all. Until next time, stay safe and live your best life.